Hi guys, I wanted to go over the submission requirements for Dream Disc 25. We have over 60 participants now on our itch page, and all of those submissions need to follow these guidelines in order to be accepted into the competition. Now, they're pretty straightforward, but I thought I'd make a video just to remove any ambiguity and make sure nobody gets confused. If you do have any more questions on top of what I'm going to show you here, just go to our Discord and you should find all the information you need there as well. Feel free to ask some questions. To get started, let's go over the requirements for your submission folder. Now, there are two required subfolders and then there's one optional subfolder. The two required subfolders are CD-ROM and artwork. For CD-ROM, it's going to contain most of your submission, and artwork contains the files that are required for the main menu and for the cover of the physical disc. So we'll start with artwork just because it's simple. Now this game, I'm calling it Polestar just as an example. We need a title.png image, and the title.png needs to be 512 pixels high, and it can be more or less any height, although 1024 is what I would suggest. If you need it to be a slightly bigger or slightly smaller image, that's okay. This image here is a disk template. So disk.png should be the disk cover art for your game. In our main menu, we have lots of different disks, and yours should be immediately recognizable and representative of your game. You can use this disk.png file as a starting point, as an overlay. This part in the middle is transparent, so you can overlay it on top of your design when you're sending it to us. In the CD-ROM folder, you should have one subfolder, which is the name of your project. And this is what's actually going to be on the CD-ROM. So it shouldn't have any strange punctuation. You can have dashes, you can have underscores, and you can have spaces. That's the only punctuation you're allowed. It's fine to have capitals and lowercase letters, that's no problem. For this example, I've gone with what's called snake case, which is all lowercase but separated by an underscore. Going forward, we're going to call this folder your project folder. So going into your project directory, there are only a couple of hard requirements here. So one is that we have main.bin. Main.bin is your actual program that the Dreamcast is going to run. It shouldn't be a .elf binary, it should be a raw binary. If you need to know the difference between those two, we could describe it on our Discord server, and feel free to ask questions if you need clarification on the difference between them. But we need the raw binary called main.bin. We also, if you're using CDDA, need the CDDA track offset.txt file. This is a text file that should just contain the number of where your CDDA tracks should start from as an offset. So for example, if normally you would play track number 5, but the track offset says actually your offset is 3, then you'd do 5 plus 3 and the final number would be 8. There's sample code for all the CDDA track offset handling on the Discord server in the Dream Disc Resources channel. And again, if you've got any questions, you can let us know. Aside from those, we have any files that your game actually needs to load. They should be loaded from inside this project folder. For this example, I've got two subfolders here called story files and sprites. In story files, we have a text file, which is just the text that would be used for the intro of the game. And in sprites, we have a couple PNG images, which would be the sprites for this example game. In your game, feel free to have all the files that you need here that would be read in from a CD-ROM. But if you're using a ROM disk, you don't actually need to have any of the files here, because all the content from the ROM disk will be included in your main.bin file. And finally, we have the top level CDDA folder. This folder should just contain whatever music files your game needs to run through CDDA, and it should have the track number at the beginning of the file name there so that the order is preserved. Otherwise, if I say, hey, we're going to play track 1 on the final disc, that might not line up to track 1 as you intended it from your original submission. That's it for the folder structure. The only thing I need to go over now is making sure that your game can go back to the main menu when the user holds down the start button and presses A. You need to be able to detect those button presses, and then if you're using KallistoOS, you want to call the arch exit function. What that'll do is it'll set things up so that our menu loader can take over from there. If you're not using KallistoOS, how you do that might require a little bit of code changes in your project. If that's something that you need help with, just get in touch with us on the Discord server and we'll make sure that everything works properly. That's everything in terms of the requirements. If you want to double check anything, remember you can visit the event page that's in the description for the full write-up and all the information there. Okay, happy jamming. See you.